welcome to the Trinity First Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. Adam Ponophobia Cogswell in your ears. I am joined by Ezreal and Moon this evening.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up?
And we, so episode 536, if I didn't already say that. If I did, you're going to hear it again. On tonight's podcast, we're going to talk about the upcoming patch 8.11, which you still have, I believe, another week, right? It should come next week before that patch is taken over. But that is the Marksman change patch. We wanted to hit it a little early and start talking about some of the Marksman item changes and what to expect out of that patch, because there's a lot of questions and a lot of people who are really confused about it. If you browse our Summoner School at all, you'll see those people asking that questions. Before we get to that point, I need to let you all know that we are actually making a change to the podcast in the upcoming weeks. So there's, as you guys have probably noticed, there's been a lot of staff changes. There's been a lot of people rotating in and out, and with that, we have not been able to play games as frequently, just individually or together. And something that we always tried to keep is like team cohesion. We always felt like if we played games together, we made a better podcast because we were more like friends than we were just, professional podcasting buddies. And we kind of felt like if we could like reel that back in and start playing some more together, that perhaps we could give you guys even better content than we already give. So with that said, we're going to take the podcast from 8 episodes a month down to 6, where we try to play at least 2 weeks out of the month. And so those 2 weeks, we're going to sacrifice a podcast day to be able to play those. And we're just hoping to be able to do that. We'll be able to bring you a better product. We'll likely be streaming those games. So if you want to see them, twitch.tv/TForce Podcast. And I'll let you know when that official schedule hits. So like next week, I believe next week should be a 1-episode week with the patch notes. So I think you all should expect like a patch note week to be the 1-episode week. And we'll see. We'll kind of see where that goes from there. But you'll still have 2 this week. This one's just a little later because we were just trying to get people around. Because tomorrow you'll have Beaver and hopefully Ezreal and hopefully Sikkim, right? Bears on the show. So you guys can.
I'll be there.
I'll buy you loadsome.
Yeah, we'll make it work though.
Yeah, you guys are all right. And there's tons. I have tons of stuff in here, and I know Beaver's really good about coming up with stuff. So that should be a lot of fun.
Make sure to vote for who makes the best off-show host.
That's right. And ignore all background noise from anybody because they don't have me here to yell at them for making background noise.
I'm the main culprit. All my clicking. Swear my mouse is the loudest thing in the world.
No, I'm just giving Mood shit because last week he was vaping on the show and you could hear it in the background.
Yeah, I kept blowing it.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I would be like mid-sentence. After he told me, I listened to it back and dude, I puff on that thing without realizing it. I'm like mid-sentence and like blowing into the mic.
Yeah, I listened to it at work.
The thing was,
man, he's going ham.
Yeah. I think I was a little nervous about hosting for the first time. So it was like my nervous tick, I think. It was like, wow, I was comfortable. I'm like, okay, just suck on that. And then you don't have to say anything.
That's what she said.
oh.
Okay, Michael Scott.
Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of Office recently. It's my go-to when I'm feeding the baby because I can just.
God, there's nothing wrong with The Office.
Oh, I love it.
It's a great show.
Fantastic.
BuddhaBoxers.com/TForce. Use code TrinityForce for 20% off your order. Premium, high-quality, inexpensive boxers. They're made from bamboo to help wick away the sweat, which leaves you feeling fresh. Compare them to other brands. None of them will keep you as comfy as Buddha Boxers. BuddhaBoxers.com/TForce. Use code TrinityForce for 20% off your order. And that's the end of my spiel. Other than if you have questions, feedback at TrinityForcePodcast.com. I got a bunch to add to the document, and maybe these guys will get to some on Wednesday as well. And, actually, one last thing. I want to say that I'm going to make you guys do a game show the moment I can get all 5 of us together on one show for once. Y'all
It's all 6 of us, is it not?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5.
There's Punch and Elo.
Oh, there's Punch, right. Punch is only ever on for, like, 1 episode. I don't ever see Punch. The only time I see Punch is, like, patch note episodes, right?
Yeah. He's here on Wednesday a lot.
Yeah, he comes around when I'm not around. That's all it is.
Yeah. He might just be ducking you.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him, to be honest with you. I'm pretty abrasive and hard to work with, so. All right, I want to talk about some of these Marksman items. They're not just Marksman items. There are some Bruiser or Juggernaut item changes in this patch as well. So if you guys haven't heard, all those items are changing. The biggest changes, as you can see on the screen here, is that the Zeal items / crit items are kind of going the way of the dodo. Like, they're becoming really, really expensive for what you get.
Yeah, they're kind of changing their whole philosophy behind crit, it seems.
Yeah, to give you a good example, I'm going to try to scroll down here and find it. Infinity Edge is being changed, and it is now going to be BF Sword, and 1,100 gold. The total cost has been increased to 3,700 gold. That previously was 3,200 gold for Infinity Edge. Attack damage has been increased to compensate up to 80, but it no longer gives you 20% critical strike chance, and it no longer increases critical strike damage. Instead, it doubles your critical strike chance, and 15% of your critical strike damage dealt to champions is converted to true damage. And, you know, you might look at that and go, all right, I get 80 AD, it doubles my crit chance, and I get 15% of my critical strike damage dealt to champions converted to true damage, and that's awesome. Why am I not rushing this? But you kind of have to look back at what Old Infinity Edge did, and Old Infinity Edge was so damn gold efficient all by itself just because it had critical strike already on the item and increased the amount of damage you did with critical strikes. And now that you no longer get that, plus being bumped up on a gold, it suddenly becomes a really crappy rush item.
I mean, it's good that they did that. That's why a lot of people complained about it. I'm not sure if the whole like system rework was entirely necessary. I feel like they could have maybe just made IE like 4,000 or even maybe more than that. Maybe just make IE the most expensive item in the game instead of reworking the whole crit system. But, you know, either way, they accomplished their goal.
The one thing that worries me about this is I don't know how this item is going to work with like Trindamir's rage and his critical strike chance, because this item just seems like it just seems like it's going to be broken on him.
I mean, not really though, because Trin's base attack speed is like dog shit, and his base move speed is not good. He has no utility. Like Trin's pretty balanced around the fact that like he has to auto attack for damage, and like when he does, it hurts. But I'm not thinking rushes this. Like, I just mean like if a Trin rushes this, like he's just gonna be too easy to play around. Like he's gonna attack you once and then not be able to attack you again before you escape. Because
I'm not thinking it as a rush item. I just think that this with Conqueror is just going to give him so much true damage. But it might be overkill already, because by the time you're getting this, if you already have like 3 core items, you maybe don't need the extra true damage. But it just seemed strong on him to me.
It'll probably make him better against tanks. You're right. I mean, that was something that has made Trend a lot stronger in general. Like when they added Conqueror, the reason Trend became more popular is because now you can't just build armor and stop him anymore. Like, there's just a little bit more to it than that now. And I agree that adding this on top of that probably adds to that. But hopefully it comes late enough into the game where it won't you know, be so drastic.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I feel like if we're staying on Trinity, I feel like you would have to probably get rid of Essence Reaver, because then you're going to have, like, overcapped crit chance by a ton. So I'm not exactly sure how the build would work out exactly. Maybe you get Black Cleaver instead. I
mean, yeah, Trent's still going to build a Zeal item. Yeah, you're definitely going to, you know, be well over 100%. If you don't need the crit and AD, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think CDR is kind of a weird thing to itemize on Trend, like, for it to be like a big priority.
The reason everyone, well, I guess they're changing Essence Reaver with this patch, so I don't even think you'll get it anymore. But the reason it's so good on it is because you can, like, once you have 40% and high crit chance, you spin like auto twice and your spins back up because it resets it. So,
right. It's just that it's kind of like a late thing. I feel like the situations where Essence Reaver mattered before, like they're just so late in the game. Yeah, can't you just build something else?
A core on him right now would be Tiamat's and the Phantom Dancer, right? And then you're probably going into Essence Reaver as a third item, if not Ginsu's.
Yeah, I think that I'm not a Trinity player. This is just what I just thought the item looked good on him, but I think the common build is Tiamat, Berserkers, Phantom Dancer, Essence Reaver, Rageblade. I think that's what's kind of standard right now.
which it does hurt Tryndamere a little bit with these changes. Not so much because you can still pick up Tiamat early, but going into Phantom Dancer is going to be more expensive. And anytime, even if you're adding 100, 200, 300 gold onto somebody's build path, it does slow them down by a little bit. But his early game doesn't get hurt by any of this, or even his rush items, because it's not like he's rushing Static Shiv, right? So he doesn't have to come up with an extra 300 gold to be able to purchase that item outright. He's still picking up the cheap Tiamats early.
It's a really good point. When you think about the lane that he's played in, not really any other champ is going to be feeling these gold nerfs. Like, who else in top lane builds these items? So that he's getting like uniquely nerfed in that sense. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, and it's probably minor when it all comes to it. Maybe an extra 30 seconds or an extra wave or so. And I believe by the time that
that's a
Tryndamere is
big
picked
deal.
up, but it can be a big deal. Yeah,
I actually think that's a huge nerf. Honestly, I'd never considered that till you said it, and it makes a lot of sense.
Because I was looking at this. Yeah, Phantom Dancer, for example, is up to 2,800 gold now from 2,600 gold. And just to pick up a Zeal, even though you get an extra 5% critical strike chance, it's up 100 gold for it. So Zeal ends up becoming better on him, as well as Phantom Dancer. You just have to, pick up that. You have to have that extra gold to be able to combine it now.
The Zeal's critical strike chance is getting lowered.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's lowered. I looked at it wrong. You're right. So it is a nerf. It is over on.
It's a nerf to Yasuo also. Because when he gets just a Zeal item, he'll have 30%, not 40% crit.
And even Brawler Glove is more expensive.
At 600 gold, yeah.
It was always kind of like a secret cheese tactic on Trend to like rush Brawler Glove if on your first back, if you have to back early. So you go all in with the extra 10% crit.
Sorry, we're responding to the chat.
That's nerfed to 600 gold now.
Yeah, so I feel like all the crit changes are uniquely affect Tryndamere and Yasuo, but it's mostly just ADCs outside of that. Or maybe I guess you could say Yi to an extent, maybe, because I know some people go crit Yi, but...
Honestly, we have more context for what you were saying about Infinity Edge earlier, and now I think that the spikes are going to be so delayed to where, like, I don't think that passive is really going to break him, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, I don't ever think it would be a rush item per se, but I think late game. But then, as I think through it, it might just be overkill on true damage. You might be better off going like Lifesteal or something like that.
Yeah. It can't be a rush item because he needs. If we're talking Tryndamere specifically, or most top laners, they need some kind of wave clear to be able to deal with it. So like, I know Infinity Edge Garen can be a thing, right? Like if you're far enough ahead, you can go into the pure crit Infinity Edge, but at that point,
not anymore.
Does it really matter?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is like you're already really ahead when you do stuff like that, so. You probably don't need to do it to win the game.
I think Infinity Edge becomes a win harder button for most people. It's like third item you pick up on a Marksman now. It's win harder. Suddenly your critical strikes are really chunking, really doing damage. But the problem is we have to get there, get to that point to get 3 items. And it could be really hard to even get to 2 items if you are, if you're being camped or if you're not able to pick up the farm because you're weaker than you were previously because of the items that, are given to you. So if we're looking at a total of 3,700 gold compared to, I gotta scroll down here, Essence Reaver, that's 3,200 gold. The champions being played down in the bottom lane now are all going to be caster type AD carries or lethality marksman like Jhin.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably healthy to make the power spikes for crit ADCs later, which I just feel like they would get online really quickly, which I think is the feeling from a lot of people. So I'm cool with it kind of shifting away from that and trying to mix it up a little bit. So, and I think Jhin has the potential to be good because you can go Yumu's, or you can go full lethality, or you can go partial lethality and crit. So I think he has potential to be good. But I also just wonder if it might make people like Kog'Maw and Varus just even more popular because you can just go with that on-hit stuff, and that's not really getting changed at all.
Yeah, Jhin doesn't really get too much out of these changes because the new Essence Reaver isn't great on him. The new Infinity Edge is, the double critical strike chance, not a big deal. Doing extra converted true damage with your passive is probably big enough to be able to purchase that. But there's not, like, if you're going lethality, you can't go Yumu's into Infinity Edge anymore and have like auto attacks off your
what you might do, because you can Because if you have what's the item? Storm Razor, is that the one that automatically crits?
See, I keep scrolling up and down because thanks Render at 20 for not having a very good way to do it. Storm Razor, yeah, it's 70 attack damage, 30% attack speed. If you haven't attacked for 3 seconds, you gain Storm's Edge, and your next basic attack will critically strike for 160% damage and grants 10% movement speed.
Yeah, so I think a possible build for Jhin could be like Yomu's into Storm Razor into IE, because you're gonna crit on 50% of your autos that way, because you're gonna get your first auto will crit and then your fourth shot will crit. So I think that could be a possible build, because he has it's guaranteeing his crits, so you'll know that they're coming and won't be just a random roll of the dice.
Yeah, it has.
So I think that could be something that could work, but I'm not sure. It's all going to come down to what after we play with it and actually work out stuff.
Essence Reaver is a total janitor item now.
A janitor item?
Yeah, like you're gonna clean up.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's gonna be good on Lucian. At least that's what I've seen.
It
seems really good on him.
So
that unique passive is insane, dude. The Essence Flare.
So we'll talk about that. New Essence Reaver is 3,200 gold total. It does have a Sapphire Crystal in its build path now. It is BF Sword, Caulfield's Warhammer Sapphire Crystal. The Essence Reaver now does 70 attack damage, 20% cooldown reduction, 300 mana. Basic attacks refund 1% of your missing mana. And after you cast your ultimate, the next basic attack within 10 seconds grants Essence Flare. And Essence Flares, you gain 30% attack speed, and basic attacks refund 20% of your remaining non-ultimate cooldowns.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like you're gonna ult, and I was like thinking about the different AD carry ults. I was like thinking about somebody like Jinx ulting for a kill with this item, and then just like, blasting people away.
I hadn't thought about Jinx, but that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty great. Well, I think someone like Jinx would be good. I think Lucian will obviously be good. I'm trying to go through the ADCs myself now.
Well, it's going to be really good. Like I said earlier, Ezreal is going to come into this patch, 55% win rate, 100% pick ban, just because of Essence Reaver alone. Being able to rush Essence Reaver instead of having to delay for tier gives him such a spike, and plus he's getting a bunch of free gold through. He can still probably go Klepto and get a ton of the extra free gold and whatnot that he doesn't. He's getting all of this extra damage by just having Essence Flare.
But I don't know if this item itself, I don't know if that's going to be stronger than the combination of Manamute and Seraphs on him, because that just lets him scale so hard.
Manamute Seraphs is a late game build though, right? Like you're looking for like early game dominance, because we're taking this now that Marksman have to be early game dominant, at least in solo queue, because games are ending by like 23 minutes in solo queue. I would say the average is 23 to 25 minutes right now in solo queue. So there's no way you come online with 3 items.
Well, that's going to be the case with most ADCs now, because everything's more expensive. So I feel like the Manamune is probably, or Muramana, whichever one he gets first, is going to be the one that it has a better build path for him, I feel.
I just don't.
Because if you're rushing, are you rushing Essence Reaver, or are you just going Trinity Force?
I think you're going Essence Reaver into Trinity Force or something after. I don't think you're picking up tier at all anymore, because you don't.
I feel like you need Sheen early. I don't know.
You don't.
That sounds wonky to me. I feel like people are still going to stick with Manamune.
So right now with Ezreal, the problem is that his spikes are so delayed compared to other marksmen, and the fact that tier now costs more, and so he has to have a weird back timing to come back with tier, and he has nothing else on top of the tier. Assuming he's going back to just get the tier, so he doesn't get a spike like the other marksmen will if they picked up 1 or 2 longswords for the same cost. But if he goes back and picks up a Sheen and a tier, his spike is comparable, if not better, thanks to the Sheen passive. But it doesn't mean he necessarily needs Sheen early, because a lot of times you weren't picking up a Sheen until you finished your whatever the Manamune builds out of. I can't remember the fucking name right now. But a longsword gives him just as much along with the tier as having a Sheen proc would.
I'm trying to look up the win rate. I mean, I feel like Ezreal's doing fine now with the current build, and if everyone is getting pushed back, I don't see why you would need to change, because he's already performing well, and all the crit ADCs who are doing well are going to be, I feel like, at least take longer to get online. So the fact that his build theoretically takes longer, that's actually better for him, because now other ADCs, his contemporaries, are going to be taking longer themselves to come online. So I feel like the current build will just be better. At least that's my thought process.
I understand your thought process, but I think now with the changes with anybody, you have to come online earlier, because you'll be worthless unless you come online earlier and are taking towers and winning games, faster, because it takes so much longer to get the items to be worthwhile. And I wanted to shift this to, and that's my thought. We obviously have 2 different thought processes in the way that marksmen are going to be played out, but I did want to bring this up. I was thinking about it earlier in that Marksmen are strong right now, but I don't think Marksmen are strong based on the items that they can get and how quickly they can get them. I honestly think Marksmen are strong thanks to the supports that are being played and, you know, the bottom lane synergy. And if that doesn't change going into the next patch, that just makes the Marksmen that could be these items stronger. Because we're looking at, you know, more enchanters and more mage types. So if you're slinging spells and doing a lot of damage early, you're taking towers faster, theoretically. I just said a whole lot of words that might not mean a whole lot of nothing.
I'll be honest. I was reading the PvE changes and not listening. I was trying to think of something to talk about.
That's all right.
We can talk. Well, I guess. I mean, I don't think we see it the same way, but that's okay.
Nah, that's fine.
You can maybe go to Last Whisper because I feel like that's a really big change. What's happening to Last Whisper and the pen items, the like total pen to from bonus pen to total pen.
Yeah, where is Last Whisper? It's all the way up here. Yeah, Last Whisper armor penetration changed from bonus to 10% total. That's almost worth rushing. Well, it's only 10 attack damage, but
it's more so when you finish the actual like completed pen item, because then it goes from 35 bonus armor penetration to 35 total armor penetration, which I think that's a big change.
You know, we talked about Jhin. I wonder if just straight armor penetration becomes better on him, like the lethality into Lord Dominic's. And now you don't need any of the extra crazy weird passives because you're just shredding through everyone's armor with an auto attack.
Yeah, I think I think this change might be overlooked a little bit just because of how there's a bunch of new items coming out. They're changing a bunch of other items, but I feel like just switching it from bonus to total is going to make, I think it'll make assassins better because they'll be able to shred tanks better because they're going to get through huge chunks of their armor instead of just the bonus stuff. So I'm not sure. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really strong.
Do the bruisers or juggernauts need that change? I'm looking at you, Moon.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Somebody texted me.
Moon's over here laughing. That's why I called him out, because I can see his little face. If you guys don't watch live, you can pick up the cues. I'm just looking at Moon the entire time we're talking, and I can tell he's not paying attention, so I wanted to call him out to force him to talk. It worked.
I said I wasn't listening, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try really hard to listen, and I just tuned out instantly. I think I have attention problems. Are we talking about Sterics stage yet?
That's no, we're talking about Lord Dominic's right now. Okay. I was asking if total armor penetration for juggernauts and bruisers in the top lane is worthwhile to be looking at now, because I don't think anyone was picking up Lord Dominic's but 80 carries.
I mean, some top laners that dealt a lot of physical damage, like Renekton and Garen and like Jarvan and a few people like that, like big AD ratios, they used to build the old versions of Last Whisper, at like especially against tanks and that like 1v1 split push mashup. So we might see it come back. I think that the Mortal Reminder version of this is still the stronger version. That still gives the same amount of armor pen, right?
No, it's going from...
Oh, I see. It's
25%. They'll have 10% less. So there's a trade-off now for getting the reductions.
So I guess it's matchup dependent. Against Mundo, you're going Grievous Wounds. Against, Warwick, against Trundle, you're probably, if they're a tank but they also heal, you're gonna get Mortal Reminder. And if they're just a tank, you're, maybe with shields or just high resists, then you'll get the other version, the Dominic's instead.
Well, the man wants to talk about Sterics. We can talk about Sterics.
Yeah, Sterics is also getting changed. They're adding those bruiser items this patch. It's pretty interesting. The biggest... Okay, so there are a couple juggernauts that have total AD ratios. Garen's one of those. So Garen's not losing or gaining anything. But somebody like Darius, who has a total AD ratio on his ultimate, who previously got nothing from Sterics as an item for damage on his ult, he is now gaining a lot. I don't know what Yorick's ratios are off the top of my head, or Alawi's either. But if they any champion that has a total AD ratio isn't losing anything, but anybody with a bonus AD ratio is gaining something from this change.
That change is gain 50% of your base attack damage as bonus attack damage.
As opposed to it just granting base.
But the base is what increases the sheen damage, is it not?
Yes. So
it's a trade-off, kind of.
Well, only for some characters. I mean, not all of those characters that have total AD ratios, or bonus that would benefit, necessarily built Triforce. And then the reverse is also true. Garen has no total AD ratios, but he's good with Triforce, Steric Gauge. So some champs are losing on Triforce. If you built Triforce and Sterics right now, you're losing that bonus on the Triforce proc that Sterics used to give you. And if you have any total AD ratios and you used to build Sterics, well, now those skills deal more damage.
Yeah, Leap of Faith and Alawi has a 50% bonus AD ratio.
Yeah, so she's going to gain a lot because Sterics is pretty popular on her. She goes Cleaver into Steric a lot.
Leap of Faith is the one where you dash them, right? It's the auto attack?
No, it's the ultimate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like a scary ability to be getting stronger.
All her other abilities are, besides the tentacles. The tentacles have a 1.2% AD ratio. All her other abilities are percent based on 100 AD. So technically, it could push Test of Spirit and Harsh Lesson up like to the next level or whatever it is, for an extra percent of damage. But the scenarios are probably pretty, far and few between. I looked at Yorick. Yorick doesn't have anything. He's got all weird AP ratios and shit. He's actually got really shitty ratios, to be honest with you. 0.4% AD on his... Wait, did I just read there's a ping pong ball?
Yeah, I have a ping pong ball on my desk, and then it's actually, I use it as like a massage tool, and I dropped it.
This is the night where I call up Moon the entire time, laughing, smirking, ping pong balls and shit. If you guys are voting for the best, vote for Beaver right now because.
Hey, I'm not a host, so this show doesn't count against me.
So another thing that's changing this patch is Atma's Reckoning is actually coming back. It used to be Atma's Impaler, for those of you who remember that back in the day. What was it? Renekton. You just go full defense, Atma's Reckoning, Renekton. Or Atma's Impaler or Renekton. So Atma's Reckoning.
Does. Yep. I have no idea what this item does, so I'm excited for you to read it to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's Aegis plus Pickaxe plus 925 gold. It has 25 attack damage, 30 armor, 30 magic resist. And for each second in combat with enemy champions, turrets, or epic monsters, gain attack damage equal to 0.5% of maximum health up to 2.5%.
This is a pretty nice item.
Is that good on Mundo?
Probably not, actually, because... Well, not early, at least, because he needs to build health first, and this gives none of that.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm thinking of it as a later game because it scales off of maximum health.
I mean, this isn't probably a rush item for anybody. What's really interesting is it builds out of Aegis. Aegis has 2 build paths now.
The problem with this item is that it builds out of Aegis because I don't think many people want to sit on that, but. Was this the item I think Dom was... I hit my nose in the microphone. Was this the item Dom was talking about that he thinks that Marksman may build as a 4th or 5th item?
No, that's Spear.
That's Spear. Okay, I was going to say Atmos didn't see... Excuse me, right.
That doesn't seem great since they don't have a lot of HP.
No, he was talking about Spear of Sojin, which is 65 attack damage, 200 health, 10% cooldown reduction. Passive, reduce damage from champion attacks and abilities by 10 plus 15% bonus attack damage. And when near at least 3 enemy champions, gain Dragonheart, and Dragonheart blocks 200% more damage for 6 seconds, refreshing on takedowns.
So just to mention on that passive, I did read the context for this item, and the developers said that the range for that near 3 champion requirement is apparently pretty small. I think it's smaller than most ADC's maximum attack range. So
yeah,
that
so they're trying to steer it away from them.
Yeah, it's really like a melee diver item, like somebody who's going to be trying to kill one person while they're tanking damage from multiple people.
And that was my only holdback when to agreeing with that was I guarantee they were going to do something to make it so Marksman couldn't pick this up or shouldn't be picking it up, because it's probably just basically around your champion or just a little bit further out. So like you said, you pretty much have to be like Maokai and standing in between the entire group. Now Maokai's not picking this up, of course, because it has 65 attack damage on it, but you get my idea.
AD Katarina. Let's see that come back.
Oh boy, yeah.
This item, that doesn't sound terrible.
Does this sound alright on a Kali?
I mean, technically it'd probably be decent.
Does she
on
need
her?
it, I guess.
It probably would be like a third item.
It sounds like a third item on most people. I'm trying to pick someone that might pick this item up that I'm missing out on. Maybe Alawi.
Probably Graves. I think Graves might have short enough range.
Yeah, depending on how long.
Well, I think pretty much like any Juggernaut would be okay with it for sure.
Renekton.
Anyone who wants to get in your face but can't exactly kill you incredibly quickly.
Are there like any oddball cases though? I think is what Adam is trying to think of.
Yeah, because even then I'm thinking like Jax isn't going to want this item because he's already got his dodge, so he doesn't really need to stop extra damage from coming in. Renekton I can see picking up the item if he needs to pick up a little extra health or something. Alawi will definitely consider this. I think you could see Darius considering the item as well since he's right in the thick of things.
I mean, Garen's going to want it for sure.
Who am I missing here? I feel like I'm missing maybe J4.
I mean, I think all of those characters would build it. I'm trying to think of like weird off the wall heroes, and I think Graves would definitely be somebody that is going to pick this up. I think Kale might honestly too. I think this could like break Kale.
Assuming if they're within range, which I doubt they will be.
It's just that she likes CDR and she auto attacks with enough attack speed to utilize the AD. And Kale players also like it if they can get like a little bit of defense on their damage item.
Gotcha.
So like
Master
the health is probably attractive. Yeah, Master Yi definitely would like it.
Because he already gets resets, I think, if he gets kills, and it makes all cooldown shorter, I think.
Kale's not
makes it
afraid
last
to go.
longer.
Kale's not afraid to go in either since she has that ultimate, so I think she can make use of that like bonus passive.
Ooh, Olaf. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Olaf definitely.
Yeah, you're right. Pretty much any of the bruisers. I'm just kind of going through the list here of top laners, and just about everybody is going to want to use this item in some shape or form.
I mean, Darius for sure, right?
Darius,
Yeah, no
Volibear.
question.
I'm curious if something like this, along with the new Sterics, does... Now that's the question. Does Rengar have bonus AD ratios? I don't think he does.
Dude, to be honest, this item looks better than Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver sucks right now. It's the same price as this item, and it gives 10% more CDR, 200 more health, but it gives 25 less attack damage. And yes, it has the Armor Shred passive, but the way most champions work in this game is that in order to apply the Armor Shred stacks, you have to deal physical damage. So you have to use your attacks and your abilities to apply the stacks. So then your abilities are on cooldown and they can't benefit from all the stacks. So like Cleaver is really not that good of a personal item. And I think that even though this is 200 less HP, that damage reduction passive is going to offset that to a certain degree. And yeah, I don't see a reason to build Cleaver first anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you ever build Cleaver first over this item now?
Why do you need Cleaver anymore, right? Because if you can get Spirit Sojin and then you can just go into like a Last Whisper, you're doing more than you're doing obviously more with Last Whisper than you were with Cleaver because Cleaver takes time to stack.
I'm really disappointed that they didn't do something to Black Cleaver on this patch because
that's a really good
the only reason it got gutted is because of all the ADCs abusing it. But they've reworked the ADC items and they've added fighter items. So why didn't they do a Black Cleaver gloss in this patch?
Can you imagine Lucian with a buffed Black Cleaver and new Essence Reaver? It sounds really broken.
A buffed Essence Reaver. Oh, yeah. I don't want to imagine that. How's that?
It just sounds incredibly strong because he's going to be getting his cooldowns up quicker after his ulti, and then if Black Cleaver is stronger, I think he would just abuse the shit out of it.
So does Lucian start looking into an Essence Reaver into Stormrazor Rush, to be honest with you, with Stormrazor giving you 30% attack speed and 70 attack damage? Because now he's critting on his first attack when he goes in.
Yeah.
That doesn't... I mean, I don't think Stormrazor is going to be that good on... I feel like Stormrazor is more of an assassin item almost.
I agree with Essence Reaver as a first item for him. I think that's definitely what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm not looking for. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this patch because what this means is that Jinx, Caitlyn, Tristana are all out of the mix. Varus, Kog'Maw, Jhin, Lucian, and who was the last one I'm missing? I'm missing someone else. Probably Kai'Sa stays on top.
By the way, Adam is right about Stormrazor on Lucian. After thinking about it for a second, Lucian Ultimate is going to allow him to get a second crit off of this item because he does not base your attacking.
You know what? That's
I thought you had to be out of combat. Oh, if you haven't attacked for 3 seconds. Okay.
And it scales down with your attack speed, too.
So it's less than 3 seconds on somebody like an ADC who has attack speed items.
Okay.
So I can actually
see
Lucian being able to play around it. Anyway.
Sorry, I'm thinking. I kind of wonder if the Stormrazor, because Stormrazor looks like it might be the new rush item, right? Because it could definitely. I wonder if Twitch starts suddenly becoming like sneaky, really good with a Stormrazor rush, since he can reset his Q and get in and out of combat.
Re-stealth and re-crit. He's like a Shaco 2.0, but ranged.
Right. Like, obviously, you're spray and praying, you're killing a whole bunch of people, but it allows you to... The thing that Twitch has always been able to do is get a couple kills and then either chase people down or, re-engage a fight at someplace else, and he gets those crits again because his Q is always resetting. And I'm curious as the Stormrazor rush with 70 attack damage, 30% attack speed. I mean, that's a really good item for most champions to pick up early.
I wonder how quick... Go ahead, sorry.
It'll be good on Garen because Garen's spin is 3 seconds. And so, yeah, he'll be able to Q, crit, spin, apply the armor shred from E, and then let spin go its full duration. At the end of spin, he'll get another crit.
I wonder how quickly it's like, how aggressively does it scale down with attack speed? That's kind of what I want to know. It doesn't really say.
I can't imagine that aggressively, right? It's not like you're going to have it 1 second, like you auto attack, wait a second, auto attack, wait a second, or whatever it may be. I doubt it scales that hard.
I know, but because 3 seconds is short, but if it's scale, I just don't know exactly how that would work with like certain champion cooldowns. Like if you auto QW, could you have another Stormrazor auto attack up? I don't know.
Yes, that's 3 seconds easy.
Could Kog'Maw like be attacking people from super long distance and then like kite for like a second and then turn back into combat and then get like free crits because he kited for a second because he has huge attack speed steroids and builds attack speed items? Like maybe he hits the attack speed cap, right? So like maybe he could do that.
Yeah, the more we talk about this, the more I realize Stormrazor is actually going to be a pretty good rush. And even though we're killing crit ADCs, that's why I said like Varus, Kog'Maw suddenly become pretty good because Stormrazor is a fantastic item for them to look at early. Anything that's about 3,200 gold for a Marksman is like that sweet spot where they want to sit at and pick up.
Yeah, the difference between not attacking and being out of combat is a big one for me. I thought it was out of combat, so that's huge, I think.
I mean, did I miss anything else on here when it came to Marksman items? I don't think I did, right? No, I guess Blade of the Ruin King. That's it. The costs go down 3,200 gold. That's another one that Lucian gets to look at. Lucian gets to look at Essence Reaver, Blade of the Ruin King, either one first item. And Guardian Angel. I think that's it. Yeah, ARAM changes. But
I saw the ARAM changes. I thought they were going to...
Dude, those boots. Oh, man, those boots. Dude, I would be the ultimate Garen assassin if I could walk.
It's like everyone has Kane's ability. I didn't realize that. I didn't see that ARAM separator, but I was really excited. These items look so badass. Kind of broken, but...
Yeah, super broken, where you could blink to a spot and blink back.
Yeah.
Jesus. Something we didn't mention is that all of the base stats for the Marksman in this patch are being adjusted. The overall change would be that base AD has been lowered by 5. I would believe on just about everyone. Like Draven has a 4 loss, Ezreal has a 4 loss, so it's 4 to 5. AD per level gets increased to make up for that. Armor goes down by 4 to 5, which is huge, even with an HP increase on most of the champions by about 10. and HP per level increased as well. But like early, the first couple levels, if you don't have that extra armor and you don't have a better armor growth stat, I believe that hurts more. Like, doesn't that makes lethality worse, but total armor penetration better? Not that it needed it against Marksman, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have less armor, lethality is going to be better, I think.
No, lethality's... Yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically you just have 5 extra lethality now because they have 5 less armor.
Right. I see what you're trying to say. I can never remember the stupid formula for lethality.
I think it has to do with your level and their level. So you basically have 5 plus bonus flat penetration, I guess. What used to be lethality. Flat penetration, lethality, it's kind of the same thing, but not really.
Yeah, it's like 60-40, isn't it? Like you get some flat and some scaling.
I think it has something... I should know that. I think it has something to do
right?
with your level and who your attacking's level.
This is the point where everyone turns off the podcast. How do they know how lethality works? Because I would play the game long enough.
Dude, lethality sucks. Russian Ghostblade is inting in 2018.
Jesus
But
Christ.
I mean, they're nerfing everyone's base AD, but they're making their scaling AD higher. So I think they for sure will eventually have more AD, which is kind of the theme they're going with, where they want them to take longer to come online. ADs, that is, to come online, but maybe be stronger late game.
And that's fine. I think that's kind of what everybody wants, except for like the few ADC players who feel like they should just be strong as soon as they get one item. They should just be able to carry from that point, 1v1 anybody.
Yeah, I like the ADC changes, honestly, because maybe it'll make it so I can carry really hard from mid lane easier. So I'm happy with that.
I think top is going to feel a positive benefit here too. Like a top lane might be able to leave lane ahead and be strong enough to impact the game with these new items without just getting steamrolled by bot lane regardless.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you're still going to get steamrolled by bot lane. I think this just makes some of those other champions that are on the fringe of being good or are already good even better.
Well, I always think bot lane will probably be the most influential because that's 40% of your team. So
Yeah.
I think if it goes poorly, it's going to be more difficult than if a solo lane goes poorly. I think that's just kind of how the game is going to be as long as there's a duo lane and bot. It's just set up that way.
Yeah, as long as you have somebody else that can influence the map. But I'm really interested to see something that the trend that I've been seeing more and more lately is that marksmen have been left more alone and that supports are roaming more. So I'm curious to see with these champions coming down in there if they're able to stand on their own with these changes. And I think that they'll have a better chance of doing that now because the items are giving more, and there's more options to be able to sustain yourself or do damage in lane. So I'm curious to see how this affects the overall. Like in Gold 1, Plat 5, Diamond 5, but you ain't gonna fucking see a difference. But like in Pro Play, I think this makes a pretty big difference.
I'm going to give Riot props on...
Oh shit, here it comes. He's giving props.
This patch because item homogenization is something that I felt was a problem with this game for a long time. A lot of the items are basically the same. And I really like the direction they've taken, not only the top lane fighter items, but also the ADC items. They feel unique.
That's the first time I think he's ever given props to Riot. Usually it's something coming out of his mouth, how much he hates the shit they're doing.
Dude, usually they
Garen's
only make
good
the
now,
game
so
worse.
he has to give him props. Garen's OP.
Garen is not OP unless you're like bronze, silver, and like the best counter to Garen is like skill level. So just practice. Sorry.
But speaking of like bad for the game, are you telling me you like the jungle changes? Because I thought you would hate them. I feel like there's more level 2 ganks now than ever.
Today I got ganked 3 times in a row by Ivern, and it was pretty annoying. But then my bot lane just won the game because Ivern was an idiot and ganked top a bunch. So, it's not that bad. If I get ganked as a top laner, I just accept that my bot lane's gonna carry instead. So whatever. It's not fun, but I win games at least.
That's why I wish Beaver was on the show. I'm gonna make Beaver talk about the jungle on Wednesday. That's one of the things I really want him to talk about. Every time a night comes around where I have to scrounge a couple of you guys together to talk, I always want Beaver on because I have a bunch of questions, a bunch of stuff that I want to talk to him about. If you look at the document, you can see at least like 3 questions in there that Beaver would be perfect for, but the motherfucker doesn't ever show up. So
we can talk about me taking smite mid. He'll hate that.
Why? He doesn't like the smite mid meta?
No, because you're taking your jungler's camps.
Yeah, I was talking.
You're just trusting yourself to carry.
I was talking to Wrecker about that, and he said he was up like 3 levels on the mid and still couldn't carry. So I'm like, you're probably just bad.
I think, well, smite mid's super situational, but if you're in a matchup where you can make it work, I think it can be really impactful. You get so much extra XP and gold if you can utilize it correctly.
Sure.
Dude, Scuttle is really interesting. I like Scuttle right now. It's so much gold, and what's happening in top lane in my games is like we're like shoving each other out and then like trying to roam down, and then it's like a race to like clear your wave and then like follow that guy, not to the like enemy lane, but like just in distance of the Scuttle so they can't do it. Like, and if there is a Scuttle, like the jungler is going to be there. So it's like there's been a couple 2v2 situations that have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think their goal of like promoting more skirmishes, I think that has been pretty successful because it's like a mini objective where you're willing to risk some stuff over it because it gives such good rewards now. So I also agree. I like the new Scuttle a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying it as well for the same reasons. No reason to. I have to sneeze. I'm sorry.
Bless you.
Try to do it away from the microphone, but yeah, no, I'm enjoying the jungle changes. I know that the level 2 ganks are more prevalent than ever because you can go buff Scuttle gank top lane, for example. But and I know a lot of people are bitching about that. I did read a post someone saying that blue side is actually more powerful now because you can go red Scuttle and practically deny the enemy any extra experience. I don't know if you guys saw that or read it. I think you guys.
I saw that you posted. I didn't read it.
I did see a post about. Is it the one that you linked? I did read some of it, and it was like there were big advantages and disadvantages on like both sides, but it seemed like it was supposedly more heavily weighted to one. But the thing about these jungle changes, though, is like whenever they mess with the way the jungle starts off at the beginning, or if they mess with like the flow, there's always a couple patches where people figure out what the best routes are. And this guy, I think, probably just figured it out first. And I think when everybody else catch on, this cheesy like red Scuttle won't work anymore because people know it's out there. So
I agree.
I think that's a symptom of figuring out the game, basically.
Well, it's anytime we have a kind of big change like this, it's on everybody to pay attention to. Like, if the jungle changes, it's on everybody in your game to pay attention to your jungle. Like, the wards should be heavily favored on your side because you never know how people are going to react or move, right? So we should be trying. Then that should teach you to more so play around the enemy jungler, and like you should become a better player through the fact that changes are happening because it should force you to pay more attention to how the game is going. Like, that's my number one thing now when I'm playing is like I'm trying to pay attention to the enemy jungler more often. And I feel like it leads to, better games until I bitch about Wukong and da-da-da. Yeah. Motherfucker just jumps out of nowhere, lands atop you, can't get away from him. I hate that champion. It's like Shaco.
It's great. Getting one hit from Fog is one of my favorite experiences in League.
Agreed. Absolutely. I think we're going to leave it there. Unless you guys got anything else to add about this upcoming patch.
I don't have anything to add about the patch, but we can talk about like our games. Ping pong ball again. My rank games are going pretty good. I'm like D3 60 LP again.
Damn, look at you. Back up. Look at this guy just climbing slowly. I haven't jumped down and played any solo queue. I think I played 24 solo queue games total this season.
I failed my D4 promos, got back to 99 LP, and now I'm at like 20 LP. So that's been my like last 3 or 4 weeks of ranked in a nutshell.
Rail was the first person to diamond this season out of our group. So
appreciate it. I played a lot more games than all of you though, so I don't know if it's actually it's just a commitment thing, I think, rather than a skill thing.
You didn't get demoted, right?
No, I'm not demoted.
I think I'm the only person that actually got demoted this season.
Oh no, I did. I went to right after I started. I did go to Plat 3 briefly, and then I went back up to Plat 2. So I did get demoted once.
Yeah, I got demoted once as well, Plat 1 to Plat 2. That was the first time I've been demoted. I was like, wow, dude, I suck now. Yeah, I'm washed up.
Gold 1 represent where I placed and have only played an extra like 10 games outside of there. Though I honestly have been thinking about trying to play more. You see how this is going? Thinking about it. Thinking.
You placed in Flex, right?
Yeah, I placed Plat 4 in Flex or something.
I have not done any of my Flex
That's
games.
why we couldn't play Flex last night. Dom has been trying to get you to do those goddamn Flex games for literally 5 months. Literally 5 months he's been trying to get you to play those fucking Flex games so we can play together. My goal for our team this season was for all of us to make it to Diamond and Flex. And this motherfucker can't even finish his Flex games.
Dude, last season I got to Flex Diamond on my own because like nobody else could play with me. I was too high last season. So then this season I was like, I just won't play my placements and I'll be like you.
What did I add? Plat 2 or Plat 1 in Flex last season? Like, I was trying to get these motherfuckers to play. Just don't get me started. I was so mad. Like, last season, like, we could make it here, guys. Look at me. I'm like Plat 2. This would be easy. And no one wanted everyone to fucking play.
Okay, I have a question for y'all. So I did my Flex 3s placement, which I think Flex 3s is fun if you have a group of 3. And I didn't know this was possible. So I played Flex 3s just enough last year to get to Gold 5. But this year I did my placements. I think I went like 7-3 or 8-2, something like that. But I went up 2 divisions just from doing my placements. So I got placed Gold 3, but I ended last season Gold 5, which I didn't know that was possible.
Just MMR.
But apparently it is.
You probably had a higher than Gold 5 MMR when you placed.
I know, but even if that was the case, I didn't know you could actually, because it was the season reset, I never thought you could actually go up still. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen.
Yeah, your MMR, like, I think being gold is actually the best thing that could happen because I think it kind of. So everybody who's like above the midpoint goes down, everybody below the midpoint goes up. And I think if you're like high silver, low gold, I think you're like right at the midpoint. You like basically don't fluctuate.
I don't know if that's the case in Flex 3s. I feel like in Flex 3s, gold might be. I don't think like anybody plays Flex 3s, so
Not really.
I was getting some real interesting matchmaking. Like
Yeah.
the teams were skewed all over the place.
Yeah, I bet.
But it's
I
fun.
tried to play Garen in 3s like sometime last year, but Graves was meta at the time, and I basically tore my hair out.
I know how much you like Janna. You love to play with Janna. That is your favorite champion to play against.
I said Graves, but yeah, that one sucks too.
Oh, I know. But everyone, I just banned Graves, so that's why I ignored you. I was just thinking last night with the mastery flashes and the
Oh
the
yeah,
from cancer.
I can't hate on anyone for mastery flashes. I have that bound to my R, F, and D. So
Jesus Christ!
I'm all over the mastery flashes.
yeah. Dude, there was this Janna last night who kept flashing her mastery, so I kept blowing flash ignite and ult on her just to like rub it in her face. And then at the end of the game, she was like, "Garen has a little dick." Yes.
You're playing Janna though. Come on.
All right, I'm gonna edit there. That's where we're gonna kill it. You know what? You guys keep climbing. I'm just gonna keep sitting here in gold and not try at all. 24 ranked games this season, guys. I'm really trying hard. You're
killing it. You gotta start somewhere.
I'll probably start here soon. What's nice is that you guys don't have kids, but you don't know what it's like to have a cutoff at 3 o'clock most days because kids are coming home from school and you got to do homework and all that. Now my days are easy sailing. I can actually sit down at 1 o'clock and play some games, and it's fucking amazing. So maybe I'll start playing again. Anyway, that's episode 536 of the Trinity Force podcast. Guys, thanks so much for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Peace.
Later.
Dogs. Peace, dogs.
Later, dogs.
Later, dogs.
That was a classic.